Alright, we are recording. So, tuning in Just Cause 2. What all do I have to? That's kind of neat. That one's actually kind of neat. That's nice. I feel like there's something else that just keeps going in and out of my memory. Let's start with that one. So, I actually got this press release earlier today, but it didn't quite have enough meat to it. I also was busy today, so I couldn't give too much attention to it, but I did read through it. Is this where I'm actually supposed to be? Yeah, it is. Press release was for Techland that Dying Light 1 has reached 20 million units sold, which is pretty good. And Dying Light 2 reached 5 million in its first month, which is definitely pretty neat. That is a good game. I do enjoy it. And I didn't see it there though. I saw it in other places. That are we gonna get what's his name talking to us? I think he's the only one that when you actually do that, when you pick up the stuff that he talks to you. But he doesn't always, clearly. But I did see one thing. It did say in the press release that there's going to be an update next week for Dying Light 2 with a number of things, like, fan requests and also quality of life changes. And that I know I've seen rumor at least, but I think it was actually official somewhere. I just don't recall exactly where. There will be a new game plus for it, which I'm definitely happy to see. That is one thing that I feel that game, Dying Light 2, would benefit from. Not all games would, but that one would. That one was large enough, and even without the whole, different decisions and such, I just feel that, being able to go through, do it again when you've got a better understanding, but without having to start over, I think that would be good. And it is something I want to do at some point. Not entirely sure when, though. And also with Dying Light 2, it'll still be a while. Just having to manage various things, and also I want to do some revision. But I have finished writing up the performance analysis. But I also have been talking about the applet thing for a while, that hopefully we'll go live with that. Where's the helicopter? You'd be around somewhere. I'm still making tweaks there, because it's like, ooh, you know what, this would be a good feature. Ooh, you know what, that would be a good feature, and I don't stop. I don't have any more ideas for it, though, so hopefully I won't be continuing to add to it. But I do need to re-record a walkthrough for it. I figured going through, covering all of its features would be a good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Where's the next agency mission? Because I know I have one. Sheldon was bothering about it. There it is. I think I want to keep clearing up down here, though. Another thing, piece of video game news. I have a third thing that I want to talk about, but I'll leave that for last. Just because that's one that I could probably ramble on the most. Deep Silver and Volition shared a, Be the Boss, I think was the name of the trailer for Saints Row. The Saints Row reboot that's coming in August. This having a special focus on the customization. Which, that's one thing about the Saints Row series that a lot of people know it for. Though it is also true, I want to say I saw a lot of people criticize Saints Row the 3rd and 4 for not having the wealth of options that you had in Saints Row 2. Well, they are aiming to change that with this reboot. They were showing all manner of things that you'll be able to do, like asynchronous face customization. Sorry, not asynchronous. Asymmetrical face customization. Which, yeah, oh great. I'm not actually familiar with a game that really enables that. I mean, you might have, like you can do something that is asymmetrical on the face, but it's not necessarily like you can control the left half and right half independently. And it seems like that's what they're talking about. There's also, you'll be able to do prosthetics instead of normal limbs. All kinds of things. And it's like, I'm a little worried about that, to be honest. I mean, I do get the appeal, but at the same time, it's like you're giving so many variables that I can believe a lot of people are just going to be overwhelmed by it. I mean, yeah. It is true, though, that personally, I'm one that's, more like, give me a standard one. A standard look, and I'll just go with that. I mean, like, I might do some adjustments, but typically not much. Like, with the Mass Effect series, well, 1 and 2, I've not played 3 yet. I, would just go with the stock. Though in Mass Effect 2, I did remove the scars on the face, but that was it. That's as far as I went with that stuff. Like, that's basically just the norm for me. I don't worry about the character's appearance that much. There we go. Oh. Sweet. Outstanding.
Seldadu, my friend Portuguese Pete has been caught by the authorities. Upon capture, he hid his PDA full of Eula Boy's business numbers in the safest place he could think of, his rectum. I fear, however, that the soldiers will execute him by firing squad and that the PDA will be ruined by gastric juice and bile. You must download all this information before they shoot him.
Oh, that was awkward. And the boat changed color.
Quickly get to Portuguese Pete. If they kill him, his PDA will automatically shut down.
Why is that a thing? How does this PDA know to do that?
He is inside that building. Download the information through the door. It is much safer that way, and less smelly. Don't you agree?
Please, let me go! My God, please, just let me go.
What are you looking at?
No, stop, I'll do anything. Move up!
Reports of violence in the sector. Respond to site immediately. Stand your ground, Scorpio!
Damn it! Where is he?
Incoming to the west, Seldadu!
I see you!
Ha! We have the information we needed. I thank you, Scorpio.
Alright, let's take this one. New black market item. Ah, well, that actually, can be a nice one. That actually is a nice helicopter, if I remember correctly. It's got good speed, good maneuverability, but you don't find them in the world, which is kind of the pointy thing about them. Whoop.
Air support on the way. ETA 30 seconds.
Alright. Should be good. So let's get out of here. Alright. Yeah, so just finishing off with talking about the Saints Row stuff. I mean, it's having too much of something, it can be a problem. It will be interesting to see, because it's also, they could have all of that customization, but just have the user experience around it designed very carefully so that it doesn't overwhelm people. Come on, really? Okay. They're aware, but not specifically alerted. So that's... There it is.
Launching missile.
I don't know where things launching. I need to start pulling back. That's why. Okay, I see it. So I'm actually safe where I am. So this guy's in bad shape. There we go.
Missile locked on target.
There it is. That's... I'm gonna be hit. Oh, that was close.
Requesting air support.
Alright. Helicopter coming in, which is good, especially since it's currently above me.
Missile away.
Where's that missile being fired? Oh, I see. Here. I see the actual spot now. Oh, and there's another over here. Alright. I think good now for that. It's only a matter of the helicopters that are flying around and shooting at me. That's not good.
Backup has been sent. ETA 30 seconds.
Alright. So much more maneuverable. There's another. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Alright, now let's see what we can do here. So the last thing I have on my list is a rumor, pretty cool if it's true, that AMD is supposedly working on a new APU, I think I saw it was codenamed Phoenix, that will, I don't remember if it was Zen 4 or Zen 3 with the CPU, but 24, up to 24 of the RDNA 2 cores in it with the integrated graphics. Which the point was being made that that would be a substantial number of cores there. To make for a very powerful, make it very powerful for graphics, for gaming. Oop. Which a lot of people are hoping to see APUs, well, integrated graphics in general, because, you know, they don't want to leave out Intel, become more powerful so that next time we have the whole, you know, can't buy a GPU anywhere, that it won't be quite so bad that you can just go to APU. Or at least some kind of integrated graphics without it being too painful. I think that's a little silly, but, and there's reasons for that. But, that is what some people hope. The reason I think it's silly is that, is that you're always going to have discrete GPUs beating integrated graphics. I mean, the most you can hope for is just that it's not so many generations off. I want to use this. Not that this isn't nice, but it's just, this is a bit easier to go around, especially since I need to do pickups. It'll be slower, but it'll get me where I need to be. Yeah, I mean, I'm using an RX 580 right now, which, hey, I love it. It's great. It's also, what? 4 years old? 5 years old? I can actually look it up. I made a table of all that information. But it's like, hey, you know, getting an APU at that level, okay, that means it's 5 years out of date. Is that really a great deal? In some ways, yes. The RX 580 is very nice. I mean, Dying Light 2 is the most graphically intense game I've played on it of late. And that's a mountain title. And it was handling it fine. 60 FPS? No. But it's also, I wasn't, you know, employing any upscaler for that. And, you know, tweaked the settings, and it was very playable and very enjoyable. So being able to have that in APU, awesome. Especially because that, you know, could suggest certain things for mobile GPU. But it still is the whole, you're not going to be getting, you know, modern discrete graphics level performance there. Even at the low end, even the lowest end discrete GPU will beat any integrated graphics, so at least it should. Because it's going to be able to have more power to it, because it'll have independent cooling from the CPU. It'll also have dedicated memory for it as well. Although, that was one thing that was interesting about the rumor. It was also suggesting that while it wouldn't use Infinity Cache, it might use a unified L3 with the CPU. Which, that might mean nothing. But it could also mean, depending on the size of the L2 cache, I could see that helping as far as like having direct communications between the CPU and GPU more so. I don't know, we'll see, because it's all just rumor. But it could be a good thing. And is also the whole AMD for years has had the idea of heterogeneous
We have a visual requesting back.
processors. It's like that's where the APUs actually first came from, was that that initiative of theirs. That's also back when AMD was... I'm trying to remember what the status of that was. It was either that they were... It was either a rumor that they were, or it was, in fact, they were working on... an ARM CPU. The idea being that they would have one chip that would combine... Actually, let me put that there. That would combine x86, ARM, and a GPU. Where's the helicopter? Wow, it's already just stopped tracking. Nice. And who knows, maybe that will come to be. In theory, it could. But I don't necessarily, myself, I don't necessarily believe that it will for a while, or at least not for consumer. That's something that could have use in server space, but it's hard to say. And actually, in a way, it wouldn't have much use. Because why would you could, if you could just get a pure x86 CPU or a pure ARM CPU, that would perform better than a hybrid, unless you were somehow able to, you know, actually write optimized code to both at the same time. I mean, I guess in theory you could do something, but then it's like you already have that in other ways. Like have ARM cores, you know, sort of like the P&E cores with Alder Lake, where like certain tasks, I mean this isn't how that actually works, but if you could have certain tasks always go to the E cores, not the P core. In theory you could do something like that, always have certain tasks go to the ARM cores instead of x86. The problem, though, is how do you really ensure that it works the way you want it to? You know what, I'm gonna drop this. Let's take the tank. There's nobody out, and I have too far to go. Oh, there's a guy right there. I'm just gonna ignore him. Yeah. But it could be interesting for mobile. Which I also saw something kind of neat. Oh yeah, that's right, there's the satellite thing. Somebody managed to take a 5800X 3DSR and undervolt it, which makes some sense based on, I know last week I talked about Buildzoid put out a video where he was criticizing AMD's efforts to try to prevent overclocking. And one thing that he pointed out is that no matter what AMD says, they have no means of blocking voltage changes because they don't have that integrated into the CPU. And this is something different from Intel. Intel does have integrated voltage regulators on the CPU. So if Intel doesn't want you messing with voltage, you don't get to mess with voltage. Well, apparently what somebody managed to do, though, was on their build with the X3D, they undervolted it and managed to get it down to 1 volt without actually compromising performance too much. Which, that's a hell of an achievement. I mean, to be more accurate, that it's more of a, they definitely got a very good sample there. But I still like the fact that apparently you are able to undervolt though. Because this is something, and I've said it before, and I'll be saying it more and more, I'm sure. Just the whole death of overclocking that some people predict because things like persistent boost overdrive, but also just Intel and AMD's own interest in getting the most out of their products from the get-go, not leaving it to overclockers to get that out. Some say that's overclocking is kind of a thing of the past, or in some cases it's why you can get into the per core overclocking and all that. But personally, I think that it just is, well, these algorithms are so good at getting the most performance out of there, so mess with the algorithm. And that's things like the curve optimization in current AMD CPUs. But it's also doing something like undervolting. So that way you are opening up the amount of power and thermal headroom for the CPU, but also for the algorithm to take advantage of. And true, this is a GPU, not a CPU, but the auto undervolt that I use on the RX 64, so it's just a toggle in the drivers. If you look at the what did I call it? It was the GPU thermal experiment, the more recent one though, that I did. The change that had on the x64's performance was significant. Now it turned out it was using the same amount of power, and it was going to about the same temperatures, but the clock stability was on a whole nother level than stock. And this is an aftermarket card too, so it's not like, it was in any way constrained for heat to even at stock. It's like it was still performing well there, but what was it? It was like averaging 1300 megahertz initially, like at stock. It was averaging there, but with the auto undervolt, it was then averaging in like 1500. I mean, I think the swing was like 150 megahertz. Just, from literally a toggle in the drivers. That's pretty awesome.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
So, you don't necessarily have that for CPUs at the moment, but it still is. If you do that, you undervolt, and because all GPUs today, they have their own boosting algorithms, formally and informally, I guess would be one way to put it. By that I just mean yes, they have P states, power states, but none of them are locked to those states. They, try to just get the most performance they can out of themselves. That's just the nature of GPUs. And CPUs are the same way too. Something like precision boost overdrive. I'm trying to remember what the name is for NVIDIA's boost algorithm, because they do have it. Is it just NVIDIA Boost or GeForce Boost? It might be something that simple. I just don't quite remember. But that's able to potentially push above the stock clocks. Indeed, that is what I observed in that same article that I just mentioned. Although different GPUs handled that differently. I hate doing this, but what I'll do. Come on. There it is. But yeah, so undervolting a CPU, it makes perfect sense to do. And even today, or especially today, because it's a way to get the CPU on its own to improve its performance. But it is also one of those, it's always silicon lottery. It's essentially undervolting, but instead of increase, because instead of going up on the curve of frequency, you're going down on the curve for voltage. And it's, can be very impactful. I want to see if I can take out the cone. Yes, I can. It hurt, but I did it. This is a terrible idea, but I'm still gonna do it. That's part of the reason why it's a terrible idea. I see it. More there.
Get us a chopper! Now!
That's never good to hear. Because it always means that there's one on the way.
We got a positive! Send back up!
Oh, one other thing. And this is what was actually floating in and out of my memory. Little update from something I talked about in last week's video was, well, what I talked about in last week's video was Drop had announced, they used to be Mass Drop, but I've gotten a number of keycap sets from them. They sell other stuff as well related to custom keyboards, including their own keyboard.
Backup team on the way!
I'm just focusing on this. They had announced a new keycap set, well, keycap profile, and it triggered a lot because basically they did it in a way they should not. So their profile, they have already had an exclusive profile for a while called MT3. It's a high-profile set. I'm actually using one right now, and it's quite comfortable. I reviewed it as well, the MT3 Ski Data, or Ski Data review that I wrote up. I'm not sure how old that is now. It's a few months, I think. Well, they decided that, with this new one, that they would name it MT2. The thing is, the current profile, the MT3 profile, is named that because the guy who made it, his name is Matteo. Well, his username is Matteo, at least. And he just replaces the E with a 3. So MT3 is a reference to his name. He had nothing to do with MT2, though. Drop came up with that on their own, and working with another designer who also has MT in his username. So it's, kind They even apparently said in something that they wrote trying to address this was that they thought that was just a perfect how that worked out. It's like, that's a very stupid comment. It's like, it was named it for the original creator. You doing that with another creator does kind of minimize the original guy's involvement. Yeah, no. It's tremendously disrespectful. And he had decided, Mateo had decided to peace out, basically. It's like, okay, fine, I'm just not going to work with them anymore. Which I think, all things considered, was actually in, like, how he talked about doing that seemed really cool. I mean, just as far as the whole, some people would be freaking out. They would be absolutely furious. But he seemed to be like, nope, I'm just not going to work with them anymore. Well, he shared an update that apparently one of the execs at Drop basically gave him a call.
Everybody down!
And he is now comfortable with working with them again, and Drop has also decided to change the name of their profile to DCX for Drop Cylindrical X. Cylindrical referring to how the top of the keycaps are shaped. Which is also kind of funny because, like, them doing that does drop then that other designer that they worked with, the MT. But it's like, I mean, they shouldn't have named it MT2 to begin with. So they could have come up with something else to refer to that one guy they wanted to. But, I mean, yeah, they handled it so badly. If they had started with DCX, there would have been no issue, no controversy. But that's not what they did. But yeah, so just that nice update that now this one designer, Mateo, is comfortable working with them again. At least I'm pretty sure that's what he was saying in there. He's probably not going to be the happiest working with them. And I kind of hope he is. And actually, from what he was talking, from how he was talking about stuff, it sounded like he is working with other places as well. He's not exclusive to them. This profile he designed is, but his work itself is not. Oh, that's a problem for me.
Whoa. Too close for comfort.
There we go. It also makes me a little bit more comfortable because I kind of don't want to. I mean, what Drop did, even though it's resolved now, is still, really crappy. So it's like I don't really want to give them more of my money. But at least now, if there is something that comes up with, and it's like, well, the only way I can get it is from them, I won't feel quite so bad. But I'm still gonna try to avoid it if I can.
That'll come in handy.
And that being said, though, and I did talk about last week, I did take advantage of their MT3 buy one get one to get, mainly because I wanted to try. So the ski data set that I'm using right now, I do like it. It is comfortable, but the texture doesn't always feel that nice under my fingers. And it's made of ABS plastic. And I wanted to try one of the PBT sets, which there's at least one. They've announced a second. I don't know if there's more than that. I just don't remember. So I decided, I'll take advantage of the buy one get one, so they get less of my money, and order that PBT set, and also the Camillo set that I think is the best looking of all of them. Those arrived this week, and I actually did I needed to do some writing for my day job, so I put the PBT set, only temporarily, yeah, I know, only temporary, onto the NK65, and it felt nice to type on. The texture issue, so the way I described it in the review for the ski data, and it felt a little bit like it on the Camilla, which is also ABS, is almost scaly, if that makes sense. Just how the texture is, like it scales, so there's a lot of wide sections to it that are relatively flat, versus like the PBT keycaps that have to have a rougher surface. It's more texture, noisier there. I guess it would be a way to put it. I like that feeling better, and that is how the PBT sets felt. But at the same time, though, it was actually fine enough that I didn't even notice the roughness per se, but it definitely didn't feel this kind of smooth, scaly smoothness. And to be clear, the scaly smoothness kind of stuff, I'm not saying that as any kind of negative. I can't think of a better way to describe it than scaly. But it's not necessarily what I prefer, but I can definitely believe plenty of people do like that feeling exactly. But yeah, it does kind of make me want to do another build at some point to put the dev TTY, that's what it's called, onto that build, and then another build for the Camillo set. One thing that's handy is that the Camillo set is, its base kit is actually like, I can do a full size with that. It includes a number pad keycaps. That was not the case with Ski Data. I had to order the number pad separately. And the Dev TTY set that I got, its base kit only covers to a 2TK out, 10 kilos. Which, I mean, either way, I mean, that's decent coverage. Like, there's a lot of keyboards that will cover. And I would kind of like to do a 75% in TKL at some point. Don't know. Don't know exactly. I mean, I love my 60%, what I'm using right now, the 1-up 60. I'm serious, this is something that's still, and it's a way, something I can talk about to help fill time at the moment. I'm still surprised how going from basically always using a full-size keyboard to a 60%, and it was like not even needing much thought. It's just, I did it and I'm good. The transition was so easy for me to do. I'm still somewhat surprised by that. Now, true, I am using the macro pad. It's currently set up as a 5x4, so basically a number pad, but everything is 1U instead of the 3 2U keys, the 0, the enter, and the plus. I don't need this. It's like that is very nice, so it's like I've got the OBS controls there, so I don't need to, and I do have actually a layer for the 60% that does have that kind of stuff there, but it's like I don't need it now, and I like that. It just makes some things easier. How long have I been going? Okay. I'm just thinking what do I want to do. I can at least get that revealed. It's like, it is very convenient having that, but just living on 60%, I mean, it was so easy to go to that from the full size. But yeah, so I don't know when I'll do additional builds. Do want to. I actually have a PCB to do a 60. Yeah, it was a B stock, where it's like the only thing is that you can't have the full width. What is that, 2 1/4? Is it 2 1/2? Something like that. Right shift key, so it needs to be shorter, so it'll be like a 1 1/2 and then a 1U, or 125 and a 1U key there. And I could do that with actually either keycap set. I just haven't done it. I just haven't done that build yet. I kind of have this silly idea of trying to get, whatever I put on there, whatever I do with that build, try to get it always a little bit cheaper. Like when it's B stock, when it's just discounted, whatever, something like that. Which, that's true, these keycap sets would actually work for that. That's also, though, I kind of want that to be unicorn puke. Because it's got... Oh man, I'm trying to remember how many LED underglow LEDs it's got. It's more... It's... I'm trying to remember, is it 10 or 12 that are on the keyboard I have right now? It's like 14 or 16, I think, on that other PCB. And it's like, well, I have to solder in the switches. It's not a hot swap. Well, maybe I should, you know, look into doing per key LEDs there. They'd only be one color, but it could still be, you know, a neat thing to do that and just even go over the top. Although, if I were to use one of these keycap sets, they are, to my knowledge, there are no MT3 sets that are shine-through in any capacity, so, yeah. Which is fine. It would be interesting. Actually, I don't even know if you can find many high-profile keycap sets that are shine-through. Okay, so there isn't one up here. Some places do actually have a collectible on the water tower. I think this is actually it. It's just the water tower that's left, I believe. So, back in the... Yep, that was it. Alright, where to now? Let me at least check on what this is, since, right. It might be a small military.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Oh yeah, that is a military base. I think it's a military base. Oh, yeah, those are antennas. Lots of stuff to blow up here.
We have a visual. Requesting backup.
You know, I feel like I, at one point, was trying to clear a place like this, and it took me so long to realize that you have to destroy each of those separately. Might have even been this place. But but it would have been years ago. See, it's one of those collectibles. No, not. There. What's left? Somewhere over here. Come on, there we go. Huh. Oh. Well, actually, no. That's still back to the chopper. Oh no, and there is something more too. I bet it's up here. Yep, there it is. Ah, there. All right. And those last 4 dishes over there should be it. And then I'll be stopping. See? All right. And that will have me starting over there.
Every minute.
Ah, there it is. So yeah, I actually really should be stopping. I mean, it's not like I can't just stop. I said it earlier, I need to do a new walkthrough video of the performance data applet, because I've been making changes, good changes, new features, like one I don't mind mentioning. It's a fairly new one. I didn't have it initially. But my consecutive difference graphs, the heat map on there, I made it so you can actually turn that off in the applet. There's some other things too. On top, in addition to that I added today. Should make it a very nice tool. I know I'll be using it. Not so much for the graphs, more so as a way to process the data a little more easily and get specific stats out without needing to like always rewrite a command or whatever. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. I could spend 5 minutes to write out the command to give me what I want, or I could spend 5 weeks. It's actually been more than that, I think. To develop something so that it will take me 5 seconds to get that information out. And somehow 5 weeks for 5 seconds is more appealing than the 5 minutes. You gotta love it how that works out. But no, it actually has been longer. I looked. I've been doing at least some work on this kind of thing going back to January. But I think 5 weeks for like actual concerted effort on it, because like when I'm reviewing Dying Light 2, I'm not working on that. Excuse me, stuff like that. So say I could see 5 weeks of just on this, because I also worked on other applets as well. To help me learn how to do things and all that. I could see 5 weeks actually being a fair estimate there, but yeah, it's taken a while, but it's good. It is good. Hopefully, there will be sufficient interest in it to take the time to figure out how to get it somewhere, get it hosted in a way that many people can take advantage of it. If there's only mild interest in it, not enough to figure that out, I have an idea or two so that those who are interested can still use it. They would have to be the most interested, though, for that to work. And if nobody's interested in it, then I will just be using it for probably every review that I collect performance data in and every performance analysis. Because it really is... The features I've put in there are ones I can take advantage of to make those articles better. And this Dying Light 2 performance analysis will be the first example of that. So yeah, looking forward to that getting out. I have it written. I need to revise it. I need to do this video as well. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. All right. See you next time.